Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on where you are watching from. Hope you all are doing well, and thank you so much for stopping by. So APC begs Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar to offer President Bola Ahmed Tinubu lasting solution to Nigerians' problems. My people, is that not laughable? I'm gonna read out the short article for you guys and also let you guys watch the video. But before we continue with it, I'm gonna beg you all to please help me by liking and sharing this video so that YouTube and Facebook can recommend it to more people. And the news here I read, Mr. Felix Moka, the spokesman for the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, has pleaded with the opposition political parties to offer lasting solutions to the country's problems rather than complaining and criticizing. Felix Moka made the call while appearing in an interview on Channels Television Politics Today on Tuesday. Recall that the opposition parties have been on loggerheads with the ruling All Progressive Congress over the mass protests that have erupted in different parts of the country. The protests were staged in Kano State and Benin to demand for a better government as food prices have skyrocketed over the country, making the cost of living extremely high. However, Moka lamented that one of the concerns they have is that opposition was not about condemning, stressing that it was not enough to just condemn. According to him, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the Labour Party (LP) also campaigned to undertake some of the reforms the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government is undertaking. He said that the government was aware of the challenges facing Nigeria and called for patience, noting that the Tinubu administration was new.
But let's get to talk about the relationship and the debate between the APC, the ruling party, and the opposition. I'm being joined tonight by the spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress APC, the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Felix Moka. Thanks so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It does look like your party is really very unhappy with the manner in which and the approach, the criticisms coming from someone like the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and some opposition figures about the state of the economy, which in turns make a lot of people feel maybe things are not hard for selected few in the country. Maybe the hardship is just picking those who to inflict pain on. Is that a case, or, I mean, what exactly is the explanation of the APC?
Thank you very much. Now, first, before I say anything, I mean, I want to recognize, because I think sometimes when you speak from, the platform that I represent, people tend to think, you're trying to hedge, you're trying to be defensive in politics. But it's not about that. There's nobody in our party, beginning with the president, the national chairman, to the least member of the party, who is not aware, keenly aware of the enormous difficulties that our people are going through at the moment. Things have been rough, things are difficult. Many of our people, especially those, in that lower, bracket, are struggling severely to cope with, the current, rise and hike in a whole lot of aspects, in the economy. That is the fundamental business that this government is looking to address. What are these policies, Sheung? Why did the government even feel the need to intervene as it did? Because the fundamentals were aching and aching badly. The distortions in the economy were severe and threatened the very foundation of our economic life. So this government intervened. And when that happened, the president made it very clear that this would produce some difficulties for our people. And clearly, those difficulties are here with us. People are living that reality. And we understand that. We know that this is not easy for our people. But the government itself is not resting. The government is doing everything that it can do to arrest this situation and reposition the economy to do better for the good of everyone. Now, talk about the opposition. Part of the concern we have is that, opposition politics is not necessarily just about condemning. These, individuals, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, for example, campaigned for this office of the president. Some of the key, economic, policies that this administration is implementing currently were also, touted by them to be at the core of their own economic, agenda. So what has happened? So it's not enough to just condemn. These leaders should be able to, assuming they have that silver bullet that they say this government is not deploying, point it out and take credit for it.
We take it one after the other,
Yes.
and we look at the issues without having to put politics into it.
Correct.
So first and foremost, I would like you to turn because you speak for your party, and your party pitched President Tinubu to Nigerians in the renewed hope agenda. And a lot of people will be asking questions. Is this what you preach to us? Is it the kind of thing that you were preaching to us? For example, let me show you a snapshot, for example, of the prices yesterday. My guest and I were discussing this, of the snapshot of the price of commodities. And it will tell you the state of things about 8 months ago before President Tinubu took over. And now you look at the basic commodities that Nigerians consume. If you look at it right there on your screen, it gives you a very, some prices have gone as much as 80-something%. Rice, you can see about 80% increase in the change of it. Flour, cost of beans, onions is the only, palm oil is the only one that is different there. All of the major commodities, even to cement, have gone almost twice the price since your government took over. And so that's a question that a lot of people will be asking. Is this the renewed hope agenda that you promised Nigerians?
Very much so. See, no. My point is this. What you're saying will be so much worse, but for the interventions that this administration, has brought to bear on the economy. What you're saying is completely transient. It's temporary. There's no economy. We all speak about the need to reform the economy of this country. There's nobody who will embark on that program of reform where these figures will not reflect as they are. It's not doable. It's not possible. Which is why there's no economist who has come out in this country to say, for example, that taking out the fuel subsidy was a mistake. Nobody, I've not heard anyone articulate that argument to suggest that, trying to harmonize the, exchange rates in the country was a mistake. Because, everyone else who campaigned in that election season actually also, promised to take those same, actions. So inevitably, what we're witnessing is a transient, consequence of deep, thought out policies that are meant to produce a lot of good.
So the economy was in shambles before the Tinubu government took over. Is that right?
See, those are not my words. What I'm saying is that this government took off from the previous government with fundamentals that were, work in progress, that were not where they ought to be, by the standards of our expectations. It was not. This president, came into office and hit the ground running. The problems that many of the governments before, not just the previous administration, but the previous administrations, that they did not do, could not do, perhaps, this government took on those difficult questions. That is what the government is trying to solve. And my point is that inevitably, implementing those policies would necessarily produce the achiness we're dealing with.
The point is, Mr. Moka, you know what the handlers of the economy said today in full view of cameras? And they described a terrible state of the economy. They described a worst case scenario that Nigeria could have ever found itself. And that they are saying that the Tinubu government is trying to walk Nigeria out of those quagmires. Yes. So the question will be, it's your same party that was in power that dragged Nigeria into this mess, that dragged Nigeria into this economic hardship, that dragged Nigeria into this economic quagmire, and your party is also saying that you want to take us out. How can the average Nigerian believe that your party can do such a thing?
First of all, you know as well as I do, and I'm sure that many of those who are listening know that a lot of the problems we're dealing with today that Buhari dealt with, some of which Jonathan dealt with, and the governments before Jonathan dealt with, were problems that were generationally created. We have run an economy since independence that's based on a single item as the money spinner for our country. Now, was it Buhari who created that system, that order, that economic order? No, it was not. Was it Jonathan by himself? No, it was not. But these things were done, and created generationally for a country. Every individual, your good self, I'm sure. How many Nigerians today rely on just one single income? People every day struggle to create passive income, to create, a second, third, fourth income streams, just to augment and to make ends meet. How do you explain a country of over 200 million people that is exclusively reliant, almost exclusively reliant, on just one product, that is also liable to the vagaries of not just the domestic, economy, but also the international marketplace? Today, the CBN governor reeled out a lot of, data, suggesting that under Jonathan, at some point, we were doing, pretty decently with over 2 million barrels of oil a day. Under Buhari administration, for the combination of all the factors that were at play, we lost the capacity to produce. Now, this government came in, beginning to tackle those, systems, and we're seeing our oil output rise again. So, this is not, there's no magic wand, and this government did not promise
Mr. Moka, let's not deconstruct the reality. There might be a narrative, but let us put the facts right for the benefit and the sake of our viewers. A lot of them who are very much aware when the Jonathan government left in office. And there's no one that is saying that Jonathan government was the perfect state, but we need to look at the state in which the Buhari government made things. That's when your party took over and what we have right now. Before the Buhari took over, pre-2015, inflation rate was 9%. It was at a single digit. Right now, it is over 20%. Unemployment rate before Buhari took over was 8.19%. You know what unemployment rate is? It's almost 34%. It's about 33.3% or more right now. The debt profile of the country, we cannot even, that is in a sorry state. Look at the exchange rate. Pre-Buhari, it was $1 to 197. Do you know what it sells at the parallel market today, Mr. Moka? It's almost 1,140. That is how, 400. 1,400. That's what the exchange rate is saying at the parallel market. I can go on and reel out the indices before your party took over. And so the question I'm asking is, yes, things are hard globally. Yes, a lot of economy are in shock. Even on the continent, there are pressures on their currencies. But the question is, Nigeria as a nation has been badly handled economy-wise, and that is what the indices are telling us. In the last few months, and I'm showing you the indices of the prices of commodity, which has aggravated the anger of Nigerians, that things had gone really bad since Tinubu government took over.
Sure.
That's the picture.
Sure. Under Buhari, why do we forget so quickly? Under Buhari, there was the global pandemic that created massive, unforeseen, unplanned crisis, not just in Nigeria.
That's 5 years into Buhari's government. That's in 2020,
globally,
2020.
Globally.
That's 4 years or more after Buhari took over.
But Buhari also inherited an economy that was teetering on the brink.
In the indices that are in the single digits.
Yes, because, see, look,
in that same chair, you're sitting, Mr. Moka, there's an economist who told us right here on the program that the Buhari government dragged the Nigerian economy badly as much as 20 years backwards. That's how bad things were before the Buhari government stepped out of office.
That's based on his own, understanding.
The indices says as much as so.
The indices that he is looking at. Today we heard those who are managing the economy of the country. The outlook they projected today was, positive. It was not gloomy. They said that the worst may be behind us already, and that going forward, they're hoping for a drastic, turnaround, both on the, fiscal front and on the monetary side. That has got to count for something. The world, economic institutions are not as pessimistic as even your assumptions.
So my assumption. These are indices.
No,
I just read out realities. Indices. These are not. I'm not an economist. I'm a journalist. I'm just putting out the indices to you.
Farmers in Europe.
Mr. Moka, do you shop here in Nigeria? Do you buy commodities here in Nigeria?
When we started this program, I told you that our people are dealing with circumstances that are difficult and challenging. Nobody's in denial. So asking me if I shop in Nigeria is not asking, a question that actually, says anything.
Because we are wondering whether
because, I'm saying
we go to the same marketplace and spend the same currency.
I told you at the beginning of this show, I acknowledged that things are tough. And they are tough in Nigeria, they are tough everywhere else. This government is not, are we 1 year? We're not even 1 year. We're just a few months.
I'm giving you the mathematical picture
to this
that you are saying. You have spent almost 20% of your 4 year term.
Listen, the 20%, look at the policies. Are you looking at the input under this government? What they have done, what they have tried to do, the bold steps they've taken to tackle these fundamental problems. Because, you can look at the symptoms all you want. You can analyze it all you want. The president acknowledges, I acknowledge, the party acknowledges, every Nigerian, every economist who is looking at the same set of facts and data, they acknowledge that things are difficult. But they say that the policies that this government has initiated will, radically transform and reposition this economy to do better, so that all of those things you're showing, all of those figures, in time will return, to positions better. Hopefully.
Mr. Moka, I will be the happiest person to see this.
So
we're having this engagement, Mr. Moka.
We need to have that engagement
because
look, with that in mind.
Your government, all the APC needs to be on its toes to do the right thing for the sake of Nigerians.
So what is the
Let's look at the issues.
What is the right?
Let's look at the issues that got your party angry in the criticism of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. This is one thing that he said. And like you to give us perspectives from his criticism. Let's show Nigerians what former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said. It was referring to the handling of the economy under the President Tinubu government. And he says Islam basically criticizing the manner in which the economy had gone in the past years. I'd like to quickly put out some portion of his criticism and his quote. He said that Tinubu's poor response to Nigeria's economic challenges is setting the stage for a prolonged and deeper domestic economic crisis. His economic policies drawn from a so-called renewed hope agenda are ironically dashing hopes, creating pain and causing despair. The private sector is shrinking by the day as small businesses are emasculated and as multinational companies confused and weary of the economy leave Nigeria in droves. Intense cost of living pressures has created more misery for the poor in towns and villages. Those are the words.
Just words. Words. Now, in all of that commentary, what did Atiku say and offer that made sense other than to condemn everything else? You see, look,
are those facts?
No, they're not facts. Those are just opinions.
Can you explain?
Those are his opinions.
Okay.
Atiku has merely expressed his opinion based on, a perception that is fixed according to his own, view, that is, completely jaundiced by his political, self-interest. That's what it is, and that's what we're referring to as some of those, incendiary comments that are not laced with any iota of rationality or reasonableness. He campaigned to be president. In other countries, people like him who ran for office, when they do not win, they offer specific, concrete policy proposals.
He asked some questions
to address.
He asked a question about
what?
About the policy of remittances of the NNPC accruers to the CBN. He was asking questions about the swap deal of crude oil product for some money that the government has asked. He said, where are those money? About 3.3 billion or thereabout. He's asking fundamental question. And it was a submission. He said, the Tinubu and his economic management team must swallow their pride, admit their missteps and failures, and follow those who know the terrain. They must act fast before the economy sinks deeper into the abyss.
So, again, those are just empty words. It's not enough for Atiku to bandy words. I just said to you, I expect a man who thought deeply, as he claims, about governance in this country, about the economy, about other aspects of our national life, to offer ideas, to offer, concrete suggestions. If you say the government is doing A wrong, what should the government, do? What is it the government ought to have done differently? You are not saying that. It's not enough to just, dismiss everything the government has done and say it's driving us in the wrong direction. That's what he's saying.
Apart from being an opposition,
that's what he's saying.
Is your party angry that people are voicing their opinion about this?
Nobody's angry about anything.
But what are you asking for in specific?
To who?
To those who are criticizing the policy of the government.
All we're saying is that, where we are as a country, that no one, not the opposition, not some, pundits who like to create and listen to themselves, people need to, refrain from taking advantage of the circumstances of our people today. The world over, Shehu, no country has ever turned the corner without difficult, periods. Is it Malaysia? Is it Singapore? What country has ever, sort of emerged from economic, crisis into sustainable prosperity? Is it Rwanda?
So are you saying that
in our
the
backyard?
Tinubu government has things covered? They've got it.
They've got it, and I think that, look, soon, a day soon, Shehu, I'm going to be back here on your show, where we are looking at a different set of data that shows progress. 8 months, 9 months, 10 months into the administration. I don't think anyone has certainly not Atiku Abubakar, has the right to make this sort of, dismissive statements, because this government is just, started out. Right. Some of the policies that the government is implementing, no one has ever tried it. Atiku Abubakar, when he was vice president, didn't even contemplate the depth of these policies that this government is implementing.
He was speaking about the issue of subsidy. He did it. He was speaking about some of the policy and how
he had the opportunity to take out the subsidy with Jonathan. They didn't. And they brought us to this mess.
Yeah, let's close this conversation, Mr. Moka, in 30 seconds. What are you telling Nigerians tonight? They're suffering, they're feeling the pinch, they're feeling the hardship. In 30 seconds, what is your party telling them? That you have failed and you are going to fix things, or what exactly?
No, that the country is going through enormous challenges that require bold, courageous decisions, which this president has offered. And we're saying to them that these policies, naturally has a gestation period where they will begin to see the transformative impact of these policies that will come down to the dining tables and to the bedrooms and living rooms of Nigerians. My point is that our people should not despair and should not lend themselves to this manipulative, rhetoric of certain, individuals in the country who are taking advantage. And I think that's where